if we're going to talk about Hurts, because last year's draft, Hurts was my number 2 quarterback behind Joe Burrow. So I'm high on Hurts. And
you're high on him. Okay.
If you look at last year, I had an 84 grade on Hurts. I have an 85 on Justin Fields. So Fields was, slightly better. And to be completely fair and honest, I have an 83 on Zach Wilson. So it's not like I saw that there was this big gap, but it was clear cut that this guy was the second best quarterback in this draft class. So I'm also high on Hurts. Mm-hmm. And even though he went the second round, the Eagles got themselves their guy, in my opinion, because one thing that goes underrated when you look at the quarterback position is how mentally tough you are and how tough you play in critical situations, third down offense, backed up offense, 4-minute offense, red zone offense. Those are all areas where Jalen Hurts excelled, not where Carson Wentz excelled. And there's a sense of that's why Nick Foles had success, in Philly, because he excelled in those areas. Talent-wise, Carson Wentz is much better talent-wise than Nick Foles, but playing a quarterback position, you just have to be great in those situations. And if you are, I could win with you. And so I think Philly identified Hurts as their guy, made the move to go on from him. So I understand why them not taking a quarterback. That's why I love the fact that they went ahead and got weapons around him, because we saw this guy step in a chaotic situation and beat a red-hot New Orleans Saints team. Did great against Arizona, and if it was up to the defense getting a couple stops, they beat Arizona. So I think Hurts is going to be fine in Philly.
Good day, everyone. It's Krause of JAKIB Media. Why am I wearing a Carson Wentz NFC East Pro Bowl jersey? Well, it's the only jersey I will not be able to give away this season, but we will be giving away 10 Devontae Smith jerseys at our 2021 NFL schedule release special broadcast, all presented by Pure Bull. The broadcast will be Wednesday night, 8 p.m. to midnight. You must be subscribed. You must be present to win, and we'll give away 10 Devontae Smith jerseys. Also, as we get closer to the season, tickets for every single game on the schedule, both home and away, plus our bus trip and experiences for fans that you will never find anywhere else. All part of the JAKIB Media Network. See you next time, everybody.
What's up, Emory?
What's going on, guys? I appreciate you having me on.
What's up, Emory?
Emory, what's up, bro?
Cool,
Good
man. How you doing?
Voice again, man.
Good.
So that's Barrett Brooks, Harry Mays. You remember me, Eitan. We're live on the stream now. So we're on phillyvoice.com for another 3 minutes, and then we'll be joined back on SportsMap as well. So
F-Ball Game Plan on Twitter. F-Ball Game Plan.
We'll put up the site, too, to share it so people can see.
Okay.
What's good, bro? Everything good?
Man, it's a busy time, man. As you guys know, it's draft season, and it's kind of like now, review season. So it's nonstop over here, man.
That's what it's all about, man.
Schedule coming out in 5 days.
So you went to you played with the Raging Cajuns. When did you play there?
99 to 02.
99 to 02?
Mm-hmm. I'm an old head.
Not as old as Barrett.
Not as old as me. 95, man.
Barrett was in the league then.
95, man. That was crazy. Yeah, second round, bro. Second round. How long did you play in the league?
Oh, I ain't playing the league at all. Like
you dog. You didn't miss anything, bro. You didn't. You didn't miss anything. It was tough, man. Tough years. My body's feeling it, man.
Listen, I live vicariously through my teammates. Ike Taylor, Charles Tillman.
I play with Swagger.
Yeah, Ike, my dude, man.
Peanut Tillman.
It was always interesting watching those guys play well into their mid 30s, and I don't know how y'all able to move that fast. My knees hurt, and I don't even have the extensive experience you guys have. It's amazing the athleticism and sustained athleticism these guys have, man.
Especially Swagger, man. I mean, I ran a 4.340. But hey, guys, this is what people don't understand. Ike wasn't playing football. Ike was in the band or something like that, wasn't he?
Yeah, and Ike was a running back with me our freshman year. Ike was actually a dope running back, and it wasn't until the new coaching staff came in and moved Ike to corner our senior year, and he took off. But if Ike had the chance to stay at running back, man, Ike was nice on the low.
Right. I was telling Ike was like ran a 4.3. I mean, he never reached the full potential of what he could be as a football player because he just never took anything serious. Like, you know,
I had him on one time. He was hilarious.
Right.
He's a funny dude.
He went through like a year. I played him for like 2.5 years. He went through a time where he would say at the end of his sentence, he would repeat the last bit, like, "What's up, boy?"
Yeah.
Hey, we're going over here. I'm like, what?
Yo, there was one time.
Hold on, Emory. We're about to come back. We got time to tell stories. If you've got time, we've got time. That's pretty much the theme of it.
This is The Middle on the SportsMap Radio Network.
Presented by Rocket Mortgage.
Live from the O'Reilly Auto Parts Studios, here's Eitan Shander, Barrett Brooks, and Harry Mays.
All right, we return here on the network, still live on the stream, so you got a chance to see Emory Hunt, and you can follow him on Twitter at FBallGamePlan. The site, as you can see live here on the JAKIB Media YouTube page, phillyvoice.com/the middle, footballgameplan.com, and it's Barrett's birthday this week, and he already left us earlier this week, went on to play golf somewhere up in the Hamptons, Emory. So our gift to him is you today, where y'all can just geek out and break down as much film of draftees now into the NFL, expectations. We could talk everything, including fantasy.
Get out the whiteboard, Barrett.
Right. I got my notes right here, man.
So thank you first and foremost for joining us.
No, I appreciate you guys having me on, man. It's a fun show, and I know you guys do great work, and you guys had a great draft to really break down and talk about, to be honest.
Oh man, yeah, I'm glad you liked the draft, man. I gave it a B-, you know, because we're not at this show. It's almost anti-religious to give the grades to the draft right now. We tend to think, and I understand it. You got to wait 3 years
for some reason.
You give 3 years for these guys to see whether they're good or not. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
You really don't define what you are as a player until like your second year, anyways. So looking at the draft, I mean, there's a couple guys all right. Give me your grade on Patrick Johnson. You know, what do you see him? I mean, to me, because this is my evaluation, I see him like a Trent Cole, a guy that will come in, learn the game, and eventually be a guy that can come in and play for us. You know, what was your grade on him?
You know, it was interesting watching him and his teammate Cam Sample. Both guys, you know, did a really good job just, you know, rushing off both ends. I think they're both versatile. Johnson is someone that can definitely rush and play with power. So I like the pick considering where he went. Even in the earlier parts of the draft, getting someone from Teron Jackson from Coastal Carolina, just outstanding. You know, he was Sun Belt Conference Defensive Player of the Year, double-digit sacks, double-digit TFLs, and that's someone that's sort of like what they had in Brandon Graham, you know, to a lesser extent. So that's a good job by Philly, having a type, identifying a type, and going out and grab that type and put him on a football team.
Hey, Emory, I know on your website, Football Game Plan, it says where football makes sense. Did it make sense for the Eagles to essentially pass on Justin Fields? Give me, you know, your take on Hurts versus Fields.
You know, I'm not going to make it a Hurts versus Fields thing. Let's talk about the Jets passing on Hurts for Zach Wilson. You know, that
man.
Yeah, well, yeah.
Talk to him, please. Talk to him.
If we're going to talk about Hurts, because last year's draft, Hurts was my number 2 quarterback behind Joe Burrow. So I'm high on Hurts, and
you're high on him. Okay,
I have
you had him higher than Lawrence last year.
Higher than
Trevor Lawrence.
No. Last year's
draft.
You mean
last year's draft? Part of it.
Yeah, the draft.
So if you look at last year, I had an 84 grade on Hurts. I have an 85 on Justin Fields. So Fields was, you know, slightly better. And to be completely fair and honest, I have an 83 on Zach Wilson. So it's not like I saw that there was this big gap, but, you know, it was clear cut that this guy was the second best quarterback in this draft class. So I'm also high on Hurts. Mm-hmm. And, you know, even though he went the second round, the Eagles got themselves their guy, in my opinion, because one thing that goes underrated when you look at the quarterback position is how mentally tough you are and how tough you play in critical situations, third down offense, backed up offense, 4-minute offense, red zone offense. Those are all areas where Jalen Hurts excelled, not where Carson Wentz excelled. And there's a sense of that's why Nick Foles had success, in Philly, because he excelled in those areas. Talent-wise, Carson Wentz is much better talent-wise than Nick Foles, but playing a quarterback position, you just have to be great in those situations. And if you are, I could win with you. And so I think Philly identified Hurts as their guy, made the move to go on from him. So I understand why them not taking a quarterback. That's why I love the fact that they went ahead and got weapons around him, because we saw this guy step in a chaotic situation and beat a red-hot New Orleans Saints team. Did great against Arizona. And if it was up to the defense getting a couple stops, they beat Arizona. So I think Hurts is going to be fine in Philly. I'm more shocked that the Giants passed on an opportunity to take Justin Fields to trade back, knowing they have a worse quarterback situation than that in Philly. I think Philly's going to be all right with a guy like Hurts. Seems like everybody's kind of bought in around him, so I can understand them not taking Hurts. But leave it up to the mock drafts. Every mock draft that you see come out now, they want to replace Hurts with insert quarterback here when Hurts is the dude, and we'll find out later that'll be the case. But people love to always replace certain quarterbacks that they don't seem too high on.
I'm seeing mock drafts where next year they have the Eagles taking Malik Willis out of Liberty, the kid that transferred from Auburn already.
They love
right.
They have the Eagles. They have the Eagles replacing the quarterback, but the team right behind them in these mock drafts are the Giants. So the Giants are picking in the top 10. Right. For 3 straight years, but they don't replace that quarterback.
Right.
So I always find those funny. There's some hidden agendas written in those mock drafts. So that's why I always laugh at it. Those are the same people that said Lamar Jackson was a wide receiver. So
let me ask you then, on that vein of the mock drafts, but not in the sense of looking ahead, but kind of now that the mock has turned into real, and your thoughts when you look back at a team like the Philadelphia Eagles, and we've seen this before, them doing this before, takes a kid who, when healthy, and you have to put that asterisk next to him. And look, it's worked for Josh Sweat. I'll give them credit. They drafted Josh Sweat in the 4th round, right? 3 years ago, or 3rd round, whatever. And he's later than that. He's panned out. The injury dropped him, right? He's panned out. But we've seen Sidney Jones and we've seen other guys come in here, not to mention the league, Emory, and there's always that asterisk of, man, that kid Dickerson, he can play when healthy. And then you look, he's been on the IR 3 times in college. How do you approach it kind of big picture when a team does that in the first 3 rounds? And then maybe a little more specific to your reaction of the Eagles taking that kid from Alabama and Dickerson.
He was my number 2 center in the draft. But it's hard to ignore the medicals. This guy was injured every year in college, and outside of maybe 1 or 2 years. So the majority of his collegiate career, he was dealing with injury. And it's always tough to bank on, all right, if he's not injured, then he's a home run, which I agree with. However, it's hard to ignore that, and that's something that really goes into the evaluations with the NFL teams. It's about the sure things until you reach a certain part of the draft to where you have questions. Now, Josh Sweat wasn't injured all throughout his career. That's why, Landon Dickerson is interesting, because you took him in the 2nd round. So you're banking on the talent. You're banking on, okay, if we can get him healthy, it's going to be great. But, man, that's a big risk. Although I understand it because he's so talented, but it's hard to ignore the majority of his collegiate career being injured with significant injuries that knocked him out a season or half a season or an entire season. So it's tough, but man, when he's out there, he's dominant, and you just hope that he's out there often.
Yeah, that's the biggest ability is availability. When he's on the field, you're right, man. He's physical. He puts his hands on people. He finishes. And you know what? I've been talking to people lately, and they've been saying, "Oh, injury history." Well, you have to understand the way he plays the game, the physicality in which he brings to the table. And that's why he gets hurt a lot of the time, because he is so damn physical that he's hurting himself trying to hurt other people. And that's what's going on with him. He plays the game lights out. Every play, he's going to give you his all. And, that's what happens to guys that play that physical. But I want to talk about, you're a running back. And at this point, we have Kennedy Gainwell. Gainwell's one of those guys that, when I watched him 2 years ago, well, a year and a half ago, I loved what I saw with him. I saw the ability of him to just make plays. It's little intangibles that he has that, people don't really take notice of. But you as a running back, you can see, his ability to go out there and run routes like receivers. His ability to run in between the tackles, even though he's small.
Follows blocks well.
Very, very well. Sets his blocks up, And also, they say he only runs like a 4.4 or 4.5, but he never gets caught from behind. Tell him about that other gear also that he has.
Yeah, and that's interesting when you think about, his skill set as a whole. Because if you told me you're going to draft a player from a running back from Memphis, I treat that like I would treat a defensive back from San Diego State or from Pitt. Sight unseen, I'm all on board with it. Oh, you're running back from Memphis? Good, get him. I don't have to watch it. Yeah, that's what I know what I'm gonna get from these guys. And so, because the other part of it that's fascinating about those Memphis backs, and I wish I was like that because these dudes don't need volume. Back in the day, someone like me, like, oh man, if you give me 30 carries, like, bro, why you need 30 carries to get going? These dudes just need 2 and they're good to go. And I think when you look at Philly drafting someone that has those skill sets of the vision, the burst, the athleticism, and the versatility to run routes like you guys talked about, pair him up with Miles Sanders. And when you have to give Miles Sanders a breather, you don't lose much from a skill set perspective, but you also can get creative by putting him on the field with Miles Sanders at the same time. And now that's a matchup nightmare for these linebackers because they think by personnel grouping, run play, but by skill set, that's a matchup nightmare in the passing game with those two guys on the field at the same time. So I love the fact that Philly went throughout the draft getting guys that can do more than one thing. Because, Barry, this better than anybody. It's about maximizing the 53-46 on game day.
No question.
The more you can do, the easier, the more efficient your game plan will be, and you'll never be in a bad situation from personnel standpoint because you got guys that can do multiple things.
Well, it's funny you say sight unseen. Certain schools, if you're taking a running back, I'll take him because there's a reputation there. What about cornerbacks from the Big 12? Because there's kind of a reputation, and it's not too good. Taking corners. Give me your rundown on McPherson, who they took in the 4th round out of Texas Tech.
I had a high grade on McPherson because, again, when you're talking about Big 12, normally you don't talk defense, but the last 2 drafts, when we talk defense, we quietly go to Texas Tech. Jordan Brooks was my number 1 inside linebacker last year. He gets taken in the 1st round. I had a pretty solid grade on Broderick Washington, the defensive tackle, who's with the Baltimore Ravens. And when I watched Texas Tech this year, Zach McPherson was outstanding. The one thing I will say in defense of Big 12 defenses is that the secondary, you're going to get a lot of experience in terms of the passing game.
All they do is throw it.
Exactly. You'll get reps on reps. You can watch one game of a prospect and get like 89 reps in coverage, So looking at him and how he plays, he has the athleticism to match up. I love how physical he is. He's a tenacious player. So he doesn't play like a finesse guy. He's active in the alley. He's active in run support, and he has ball skills. To me, it's all about can you score and can you take the ball away? And he can definitely take the ball away. I want you on my team if you're able to be around the ball like that because that's extra possessions for our offense.
Hold on real quick. We got to take a quick one here. All right. Emory, just stick with us. We're going to be live on the stream. It's the JAKIB Media YouTube channel, phillyvoice.com, and Sports Map Radio. All right.
Yeah, I was actually my fault, A-Time, but I was actually breaking down film actually on a quarterback from actually this area up here in Philly, Will Howard at from Kansas State. So that's my old alma mater. I played at Kansas State. So I'm just watching film on him, and I was watching Knowles, a pretty good receiver from Kansas State. And I watched how, like I don't know if Zach or Zeke, whatever it is, McPherson, he was able to reroute Knowles a lot of the times, stayed in his hip pocket, was physical with him. He got beat on a double move, but, I saw his game, he could tell that he wanted to play against this guy and he wanted to just totally shut this guy down. And I'll take that from a player all day.
Yeah, as long as you're out there competing and competitive, like I can win with someone that gives up a big play or two. As long as you're just out there competing, and it's like and when you see him out there matching up, willing to play press, willing to get in the slot where sometimes some guys like, nah, I'm only playing on the outside. For him, he doesn't matter. He doesn't care. He just want to go out there and compete, and he's athletic to really match up across the board. So I thought, even some of the other defensive picks we probably get into, I really thought the Eagles knocked it out of the park, especially with like a guy like Milton Williams, someone like that. So I'm all in on what the Eagles did in the draft.
All right, interesting. All right, before we come back and circle back to that, I'm curious because we did have a couple of other teams in the division, right, that made some moves, especially in the first round. Let's go back to what I would imagine is the biggest threat now for the Philadelphia Eagles taken in the first round in the division, and that's Micah Parsons.
Yep. Are you going in now or?
Yeah. We got what time did we break? We've got about 2 minutes.
Okay, so yeah, Micah Parsons is, you look at Dallas and you look at them playing on that turf, and it's all about speed, or that field turf, but it's all about speed. And Micah Parsons is someone that definitely brings that to the table. He has the same energy as a Jalen Smith and Leighton Vander Esch. So, they're going to get more athletes on the field. And he's also a very good blitzer, which, in and of itself helps you out, in certain situations, but also the fact that he still has upside. So I think that's something you bank on in the first round at pick 11, but Dallas will live and die by their offense. Their offense with Dak Prescott back makes them a legitimate title contender. But I love the fact that they went out and addressed defense, not only just with linebacker, but also at corner, and also in the secondary, guys that could play, corner and safety. So they want to get versatile. They want to be more active around the ball. And I thought they did a good job of that on defense in the draft.
Cool. All right. Perfect. We still have see. Look at that. We still have time.
I like him, man. I wanted him. You can't lose with his athletic talent. He's a perfect bad boy type of guy to go into Dallas. I hate that he's there.
Yeah,
he's an athlete. He's going to compete every single play, man.
Auto Parts Studios. Here's Eitan Shander, Barrett Brooks, and Harry Mays.
All right, we got a couple more minutes here with Emory Hunt.
Yeah, I want to see what Emory has to say about the Washington football team, because they're building quite a defensive unit down there over these last couple of drafts, and a lot of people are scratching their head that they didn't select any quarterbacks in this draft, and they went defense in the first round. What'd you think?
That was my biggest takeaway. The fact that they didn't go quarterback at some point and get a guy that you can call your own, someone that you can develop and mold to put him in there as you continue to build the team into a significant strength. Someone in the second round like a Kellen Mond would have been solid, or someone like that. I'm not saying go in the first round and reach on a guy, but if someone is there that you deem capable, someone that has started a lot of games, then you go and get them. Even if you want to move up ahead of New England and take a Mac Jones, I would have liked that as well. But I thought they got better defensively, they got stronger defensively, and they added some key pieces along the offensive line and added some weapons at wide receiver. Diami Brown is someone, people talk about his hands, but if you notice his drops come on comeback routes, curls, things where he has to see it fast and get his hands up fast. But you notice he doesn't drop passes deep down the field when he can, take time to focus on it, get underneath it, and get his hands underneath it as well. So I think he has slow hands in terms of these comeback quick routes and things of that nature. So him living in front the jugs machine should help rectify that. So I don't think he got bad hands by nature of drops. I just think he has late hands, because you'll see him catch the middle to back part of the football. And if you get hit at the same time that happens, that ball is coming out. So, but you see him go down the field, he's able to stack and track and accelerate to the ball. He's fine deep down the field. So I do think they got themselves a legit steal in Diami Brown out of North Carolina.
All right. Now we've got about a minute. So instead of Barrett, you trying to squeeze something in and putting Emory on the spot here, and it's some awkward closure. Why don't we thank you, sir, for joining us, spending some extra time with us. We'll definitely chat soon. I know that. I know the show and the stream are definitely going to want to have you back soon, man. Thanks again.
Well, listen, quick plug.
Go ahead.
Go ahead.
People can pick up this draft guide, right? This is my draft guide this year. You talk about over
how fat that
plus,
is.
Yeah, exactly. Over 600 plus prospect individual scouting reports, but you can get the PDF form on our website at footballgameplan.com/2021 draft guide. So this is the draft guide that you could find. Obviously, all the players drafted you know about, but we know the rosters are transient all throughout preseason, training camp, and during the season. So anybody that signs, like last year when the Eagles signed Menashe Bailey, well, who the hell is Menashe Bailey? We had a scout report on Menashe Bailey from Morgan State, who's now with the Jets. So that's the type of info you get in the draft guide.
Awesome. Thank you, Emory. Appreciate
it, bro.
Stuff,
Appreciate it.
Thanks, guys.
Appreciate it.
Fantastic.
Wow.
We're back in 3. It's the middle.
If you missed any of today's show on the JAKIB Media channel, listen to the podcast on your way home. Available on YouTube, Apple, and Spotify.